No, no, I'm not staying up too late. This is a phone hang. Couldn't get a link out even if I wanted to. A few things I wanted to clear up. So while folks are being summoned here from the idiocy, just want to let y'all know here that yeah, this will be my last one tonight because I tend to forget if I just sleep on it and I end up leaving things out. Actually, the last few videos I did, I left some things out that I really wanted to say. So, oh man, freaking out is an understatement. That is an understatement. There's quite a few nuggets, I'll call them that. There were quite a few nuggets that I picked up on, and of course, people were sending me messages. As you see, I was actually playing PlayStation, listening passively. Whew, my goodness. My goodness. Poor Gary. He so shooketh that he turned his chat off in the rating system. It's not like I called that one. But there's something I love about this while I sit in the dark, pondering to myself. Kind of like G Man does. Well, like he admitted to doing, sitting in a dark room fantasizing about other people's relationships and his YouTube career, as it were. If there's something that I love about this nonsense, is the sheer amount of power they give me over them. That, that is great. If there's anything that strokes my ego, is the power I have over them. I have caused this dude to change his entire way he goes about his online ministry by simply showing him that he's doing nothing. He's competing with someone who's not even trying to grow his channel and still failing. And then comparing him to an actual educated Christian and showing that this Christian who he had several years start on is doing far better than he ever could. But between all the contradictions and nonsense, there are a few tidbits. But man, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the amount of, you want to call it revelry, or you want to call it uh, partial admonishment, or just admiration or begrudging respect that they have shown me in that hangout. Oh man, I could stiffy off of it. My goodness. My goodness. I am now being exalted as some sort of YouTube deity or demigod, at least. Yeah, I'll say that, demigod. I am some strange, ill-contrived dragon demigod that has influence over over the minds of so many people and in so many different walks of life too, not just atheists, because now it's some strange conspiracy of me being influenced by certain Christians to do things to other Christians to ultimately cause Christian division. I'm not sure how exactly that works, since, well, if it was contrived by a Christian and I'm acting it out, how is that a plot by atheists to divide? You know what? Think of that what you will, but I'm pretty sure that he bootstrapped his nonsense to what's actually happening and didn't actually think it through. But let me tell y'all something funny. Since Veckel wanted to mention his fractured relationship with a particular Christian, uh, let me tell you a bit about that, because that's something that he wasn't supposed to speak about publicly, and for good reason. It doesn't look good for him. Now, I did. I did take orders pretty much from a Christian. It was a request that anytime, and I'm going to paraphrase this. Well, I'll say, I will repeat, not verbatim, but I'll repeat some instructions. Anytime you see Veckel pandering to G-Man, let me know. As simple as that. So every time Veckel decided he wanted to suck G-Man's dick in a chat, in a forum, on the Hangout, I forwarded it to someone, and I did not, and I was, again, requested not to address him directly. Other people would say, okay. And hell, even other, but the best thing about this is that it was other Christians giving it to me so I could give it to that Christian. So he can be as upset as he wants to, but at no point in time did Veckel actually acknowledge that he was doing something that he had promised this Christian he wasn't going to do. Now, you have to wonder why, because Veckel was upset that an atheist of all people was reporting to a Christian of his deeds. If you're fucking up, it doesn't matter who reports it. You're still a fuck up. So since Veckel wants to relay personal dealings with other Christians, he should also mention why that relationship is now fractured. It has little to do with me, honestly. It's because Veckel's a fuck up and he doesn't keep his word. Now, again, wonder why a Christian would have to keep eyes on Veckel. Just think about that for a second. Think about how much of a fuck up Veckel is as a person, that his own brothers would have to enlist an atheist just to keep an eye on him because they can't depend on anyone else to. Veckel can't control his fucking self. Again, since he wants to bring this out, this particular Christian actually cared for him enough to enlist my help. Again, requesting that I not attack him, but since Veckel feels it's necessary to put this out in public with no one that asked for it, I'm going to tell you all the truth of what happened. Veckel came really fucking close to losing that relationship, but it was me who advocated to this Christian that they not throw away their relationship with Veckel. See, Veckel doesn't know that part because this person, and I told him not to tell him, I was the one who saved that relationship. So Veckel, if you're actually curious about that, go call him right now and ask him what the fuck I said when he was ready to toss your ass under a bus because you're a fuck up. Because you can't keep your own word, Veckel. See, I know far more about these guys than they realize because people feel comfortable talking to me. I haven't unveiled anything super secret, trust me, because I could, but I'm not going to do that. But again, since Veckel wants to bring this to bear, then why not, right? It's crazy. It's crazy. It's almost like they don't actually praise Jesus, God, Yahweh. They praise one another. That's who their loyalties lie. They lie within the men. And I use that term very loosely. See, the hood goblin, true empiricism, brought up something very interesting, and he's now infatuated with the idea of flagging people's channels. Well, look here, hood booger, if that's what you want to do. But you've already acknowledged that I have some type of troll army. What do you think will happen to your channel? Think about that for a second. If you honestly believe that people are hacking, if you honestly believe that there's a troll army out there doing things maliciously, what do you think offering that and continuously? It wasn't just a one time, because you know what, people speak out of turn. People kind of, people just say things because they're upset. But he is really infatuated with the idea of just flagging people's channel. I said, you know what? If that's what True wants, I say let's give it to True, because notice Veckel didn't mention. Veckel shut the fuck up when that came up. G-Man, of all people, G-Man even said, I don't want to start that. This idiot even had enough foresight to say, you know what, or I should say hindsight, hindsight, to say that, you know what, this is not a good idea. This has happened before. It didn't end well for anyone. But I think that true empiricism needs to be made an example of. I will give G-Man credit on this one. He deserves credit for at least acknowledging reality. I will give credit where credit's due. But True, however, True, since you're so intent on making an example out of people. True, have you forgotten what happened the last time you tried to come for me? So I still have that series up, dismantling the Magic Man. If you thought that was mean, if you thought that hurt your feelings, I can do far, far worse, sir. Far worse. There was a reason why I stopped that series, because you begged me to stop. And trust me, the shit talk doesn't end at that nonsense. So evidently, I've hired a hitman to beat him up. Well, I think he might have me confused with Gus Belanger. I don't pay people for that sort of thing. Sorry, I'd rather do it myself. But no, I think he has me confused with someone else. When I say that I have plans for G Man, G Man is the type of person who does need an ass whooping, but inflicting emotional scars on him cut far, far deeper. I think at least give me enough credit and enough craftiness to come up with something a bit more creative than that. But this is G Man's paranoia speaking, and I'm not surprised in the least. So, Veckel, you should probably sit down, unless you really want me to tell folks what has happened between you and this Christian. And I would, at least for his sake as well, not put that personal business out. If you are that upset that I saw you fucking up and me doing what another Christian told me to do, then maybe you shouldn't fuck up. Like, I don't know what else to say. But to Mr. BP Oil Spill, I love your idea. I love it. I think if you feel self righteous enough to start a flag war, um, by all means, I don't give a shit. Some of us actually have a life outside of YouTube, so I could give two shits. In all honesty, and I've said this before, me and Sam have talked about this. Once our careers actually reach a certain point, and which was in the near future, nearer for him than it is for me, we both will be gone. Our channels will disappear, and we won't be back as actual YouTubers, just as lurkers. But because this is something we do for fun, honestly. So, but I always save the best for last. I save the best for last, G Man. I save the best for last, my friend. So while you're out here plotting these death threats and whatnot, I'd be very careful, G Man, because I'm not the person you have to concern yourself with at all. I am not the guy. It's the people that you piss off. Given how loose his mom was, it's quite the army. Hey, there's nothing wrong with loose women. There's a difference between being loose and then literally being spread eagle for about 30 years. I think that we need a different category for that, because my goodness, you just there is no time that you're not supine. I would say, yeah, you just 90 to 99% of the time you're supine. But anyway, uh, I love I love, and I can't. And it's funny. These guys talk about me and my ego. The best way to stroke my ego online, and you can take this to the bank, is to tell people that I have influence over others. If you're convinced that the things that I say have influence over people, then that verifies that I have power. So I have power over people and you. That's essentially what you guys are saying, and you spent a good amount of time. And just look at it. Look at it. There's supposed to be a continuation of bringing evolutionists or some shit, like whatever you guys call yourselves doing, which is still funny. But you spent the majority of the time talking about me. Oddly enough, also chastising me for spending certain time periods talking about you. So I'm not sure how many. Maybe every video I do, I have to remind people of my schedule. I don't go to school until noon. My wife leaves for work around, I don't know, 8 a.m. So if I'm going live around 9, well, that's probably because my wife is at work and I don't have school. So I do have some free time. Notice that you don't see me go live around, I don't know, noon, 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m. Did that ever occur to anyone? If you actually look at the time intervals, they're all the same, except on Mondays and Wednesdays. It's almost like I have those days off. So you probably won't see me go live before 8 because that's when my wife goes to work. And generally, when I go live in the afternoons, it's when I've actually spent some time with my wife, or I'm making a fairly quick hangout and I'm spending the rest of the day with her. So I appreciate the concern that people have for me and my relationship, but oddly enough, we created a few videos describing our relationship and the history thereof, and that was kind of poo-pooed away as damage control, which is odd because then we were also told that our relationship is on the rocks. So I'm not sure exactly which claim to believe, or maybe I need to understand the dynamics of my relationship a bit more. Because it's evident that people who have shitty lives are the best judges of other people's relationship. I get that's odd how that works. Maybe I don't understand myself. So, few short things, because again, I don't want to make this video too long. G-Man, quit telling people you're getting a lawyer to do X, Y, and Z. I've literally heard you say that well over 30 something times for different scenarios over the years. Shut up and fucking do it. It gets old that you can't even keep your own dick clean. Okay, you barely understand personal hygiene. Something tells me that reading legal documents and understanding statutes and limitations aren't your strong suit either. I'm just saying a wild guess here, just a wild fucking guess, and it's evident also that you have, again, absolutely no self-awareness. My fucking God, I could not count on all of my fingers and toes of all the suggestions that you offered towards me and other people that you yourself are an exemplar fucking representation of. Like, I just talk, having hangouts about content, not talking about drama. Like, okay, so I would love that, sure. When is that? But well, hold on for a second. When I do videos on gaming, that doesn't get too many views, so that's shit. You don't want me to do that. So when I do stuff in the lab, well, no one watches that, and no one wants to watch me mix Koolaid. So that's not cool. So then, okay, so what are my other hangouts then? Well, how about the fucking journal clubs that we did, that you idiots didn't want to, partake in? Like we actually sat down and talked about science for what, 2 hours at least, like at least 2 hours on any given paper, and just going, it wasn't like a whole round robin style, but we had a discussion about science. None of you idiots wanted to come and actually offer anything, and we know why. Like, and again, it's an open invitation to people who actually want to discuss it, because unlike y'all, we're capable of doing both. I'm capable of just as much shit talk as I am discussing a scientific paper. Hell, I even made a hangout to talk about the shit talk of good old Gary, and ended up talking to CRISPR and learning a lot about the field that I'm going to go into, because I am way more interested in that. I can talk shit as well as I can breathe. I'm pretty sure y'all know that by now. But I love me some fucking science. I love me some being in the fucking lab and manipulating shit. That's what I love. But like, I guess I'm trying to figure out, if you're going to criticize me for something, at least keep it consistent, because I'm not supposed to make videos about drama, but then the drama videos don't get a lot of views, so I should stop doing other things. So what exactly am I supposed to be doing? And when we have hangouts specifically about science, i.e. journal club, you don't participate in it. So then we go back to the drama. Okay, like I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, so let me explain a little bit about it wasn't just Hannah. Don't blame Hannah just for that. So me and Redline and Vince, to a lesser degree, were all briefed on, we'll call it G-Man etiquette. Me and Redline received a bit more because, well, we don't care for G-Man at all. I had already had an idea of what I wanted to do to G-Man for years. Like I had it planned out somewhat, but there's a certain way that you have to engage him because it's not necessarily like it's not just like talking to a child, but it's like talking to a mentally handicapped child that has low to no self-control. And so you have to restrain yourself from shaking said child. And there was an agreement there. My it was a Skype conversation that happened. Red was there, I was there, Mrs. D was in the background, Fiona, Hannah, and I want to say that was about it. And so it was agreed that I was to check my behavior and I was to make sure Red checked his behavior, or terrible things would befall us both. And so we all checked each other's behavior, and that was an agreement before Redline even came to to get me. So uh, if that had not happened, I would have probably backhanded the shit out of G Man. I'm sorry. I don't hit women. I don't punch women. Uh, but G Man deserves to be smacked like somebody's hoe. So it is it's interesting for him to get upset about his interactions with people when the people who defend him have not really met him in person. True's never actually met him. Veckel has a few times, but Veckel's too busy sucking his dick to actually acknowledge some of the glaring personality defects that he has. And I mean glaring. Uh, if Hana was not there, uh, my hand would have probably been upside his fucking mouth. Because, like I said, there's a lot that I'll put up with, and we all have our limitations, but the shit that G Man had said towards Hana at that time was worthy of an ass whooping. At least where I'm from. At least where I'm from. At least you don't talk to someone's spouse. You don't say certain things to people. It's like the shit that the G Man said about Sabella. Bruce, I'm pretty sure would like to whoop G Man's ass. Point blank. Period. Um, and I'm just being real. Like I'm not saying that should happen, but I'm just being upfront. A lot of stuff that G Man has said, there's a reason why he won't say that sort of thing in person. He knows better. He knows better. He plays dumb a lot, but he knows better. He does, and he has actually admitted that he does play this stuff up when he gets on the internet. And it's really interesting to see him squirm now because now he will deny even something as silly as the handshake, where I crushed his hand. But as much as these guys fear me, you'll notice that, or I should say revere, and I'm being sarcastic, but it is a form of fear. It is a certain amount of fear in all of them because they almost unanimously agree that they should cut people off who associate with me and only deal with the people that they deem worthy. Well, I hate to break it to them, but all the people that they deem worthy also watch my channel. All the people that they think are highbrow, Floyd's, and I'm trying to remember who else was mentioned, Hogtie, all of them watch my channel. All of them watch this. Now, I'm not saying that all of them agree with everything that I say, but they watch it for a reason, right? So I'm not in the business of this high school nonsense of, well, if you associate with with that person, then you're just a big old poopy head. Well, you know what? That's fine. They like bringing up the Steve thing. Well, Steve is doing his own thing, and I'm doing mine. Like we keep each other's names out of each other's mouth, and it is what it is. But I guess they think like bringing that up is somehow going to spur some type of conversation. Like no, that's not going to go the way that they think it is. So I find it interesting that G Man at the same time will offer so much scorn and hate and vitriol towards me, but will also exalt me. And so all the nonsense and all the slander that he finds acceptable, he can't stand when it's done to him. And it's so, the irony of that is so delicious. It's so delicious. I don't control a fucking person. I am an insignificant individual situation on the internet. G Man has yet to realize that all the people who watch my channel do so for entertainment and that they come to these conclusions by themselves. I may say things in a funny way, but it's nothing that none of you haven't thought on your own. Hell, half the things that I come up with and talk about, most of you bring it to me. So, and again, I've actually offered this bit of information up before. I've actually said, you know what, this is. I'll say this is a team effort. It's a team. There is no Dragnauct Dominion, even though we call it that to make fun. But there is no Dragnaught Dominion. It is G-Man simply causing people to gravitate towards me, and he cannot accept that. He cannot accept the idea that his hate, his vitriol, his actions, words, and behaviors actually cause people to gravitate towards me. And that the people who support him deserve the scorn and the criticism that they get. Up until the point that a Christian goes, you know what? Supporting G Man is not the Christian way. And that these Christians need to be called out. Hell, it's a shame. Some Christians have integrity. Man, who would have thought, right? It's a shame. But I'll tell you what, the Christians that are being thrown under a bus are the same ones that can be corrected. They're the ones who will be able to reach non-believers. They're the ones who, at the end of the day, will end up making an impact. And these so-called Christians here that surround themselves with, CCP, what are they actually doing? What are they actually doing? Other than being envious of me. Because one of the things I love doing, I love pointing out how all of it all revolves around me. If they stub their toe, I did it. If a Christian comes in and snipes them, I did it. I told them to do it. If they lose their job, it's my fault. If they break off their relationship with their lover, it's my, I cast a spell on them. Everything's my fault. At what point in time do people take responsibility for their own actions? Is there any point in time where True acknowledges that there's a reason why nobody goes to your hangout to discuss anything of merit with you, and that the few times that people actually attempt to and give you a chance, you end up fucking it up? At what point does True acknowledge that he is just a shitty, ignorant fucking hood booger? At what point does Veckel realize that his insecurity is so fucking obvious that it overruled his ability to think clearly, to the point that he got so intimidated on Facebook that he had to remove me? That's after a few of his friends and family added me because they enjoyed me going in on him so much. Ask Veckel about that. His own family, people who knew him for a while, enjoyed me correcting him and pointing out his ignorance and his insecurity. So he had to concoct some paranoid story about me being the Pied Piper and turning Christians against other Christians, when in reality, it was a Christian influencing me. And he knows it. At this point, Veckel's lying, and he's okay with that. That tells you the desperation. That's a certain level of desperation you don't see very often. My goodness. My goodness. But I tell you what, if I can use my influence for anything, it'll make other people better. It'll be to exalt people who are worthy of exaltation. Not me, because again, I don't consider this anything other than entertainment. The few dollars I do get from people who are entertained go towards Mrs. Drag, go towards Little Drag, gas money, repairs to the car. I'm not paying no bills from this. But for whatever reason, he has it in his mind. He has this weird series of conspiracies where I'm just bilking you all for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it's what does he call it? Filthy lucracy. He's turned me into the super black Jew ghost. I don't even know. I'm gonna have to come up with a funny name for this weird caricature of me that he's constructed in his mind, because is it, it's surreal. I don't know how else to describe it. It's surreal. It's not even far fetched. It's completely bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. But what can you expect from people this desperate? What can you expect from people who would rather support this cretin? It is nonsense. Absolute and utter nonsense. But the fun is just beginning, folks. It's just beginning. If G Man thinks that I've been going hard on him now, oh, just you wait. You ain't seen nothing yet. Oh, man. Mm, 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 mm. Huh. Okay. Yeah, I'm getting some messages right now about Sam was supposed to shoot him. Now, this is interesting, folks. Now, me and Sam have been telling y'all about this. And when G Man first caught wind that Sam was heading to New York, I told Sam something in private. And then we later told you guys publicly, and I said Sam can confirm what I told him. I said G Man's too much of a bitch. After, and again, I'm a fairly good, with one exception in mind, I'm a fairly good judge of character. Fairly good judge of character. G Man wears his emotions on his sleeve. What he ends up doing is having a litany of tales that I can read from a mile away. So when Sam and PG said that, you know what, we'll be in New York. How about this, G Man? You've been dying to meet us. You've been begging, begging to meet us. How about this? How about we meet up? I said, Sam, go ahead and do it, man. But I tell you what, don't look forward to that. Hook up with MP. He's a cool ass dude. Ask him to tell you about the story when y'all go drinking. I'm not going to tell you what the story's about. Ask him to tell you the story he told me when we were drinking of his younger days. And he will know what I'm talking about. He said, well, why, well, yeah, of course I'm hooked up with MP. But why are you saying, why look forward to that? And said, G-Man, I said, G-Man is going to make up some bullshit and he's going to punk out because he's going to be a bitch. He's going to make an excuse. The next video G-Man made, oh, I think I'm getting a cold. I said, there we go. Told you. Told you. He is losing his goddamn mind. I'm paying someone to take him out. No, I wouldn't waste the money. Why do that? If this is the weird thing, folks. If he's providing me money supposedly with content, then I would be killing my cash cow. That doesn't make any sense. Here we go again. He already said he's going to delete the Hangout, but folks, make sure y'all use OBS. Yeah, I have it playing in the other room. I can hear a little bit of it. Yeah, those of you with OBS, make sure that y'all record some of that because I'm going to use that later. Oh, he gave out his address. What a dumbass. Make sure y'all record that because he's going to take that down. But this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about, folks. That's fine. So I hope y'all enjoy. I apologize. I broke my toy again. That's what happens when you have big hands. You break your toys. So let's watch him spiral out of control. Because you know what? He deserves it. As always, folks, don't be like G-Man. Be better.